Jack Waters. We're back, we're live, we're ThinkTech. We're ThinkTech Energy Wednesday, Hawaii, the state of clean energy, and we probably don't know what opinions we're going to make tonight either. But we'll muddle through somehow. We have two important guests with us. We have Francois Rogers from Blue Planet Foundation, and we have Robin Campaniano from the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. And our mission tonight is going to be to find out what is the common denominator between these two guys, okay? But don't get to that right now. We still have a minute. We're going to talk about the negawatt moment with Shayna Doi, right?
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Shayna.
Thank you for having me.
Shayna's sitting a few feet away, right over there, because we don't have enough room at the table, but she has got a plan for us about Halloween. That's
Yes.
appropriate.
Well, as you said, Halloween is coming up. It's coming up tomorrow. So at Hawaii Energy, we have some tips on how to prevent your electricity bill from haunting you this Halloween. How can you save energy this Halloween? I got 3 ways. The first way is to beware of vampires. Vampire power.
I want to be clear that, you know, the ThinkTech cares about Halloween as much as anything else.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
at Hawaii
So
Energy
happy that
care
you-
deeply about Halloween
Okay,
as
so
well.
vampires is the first one. What's the
Yes,
next one?
vampire power.
Power.
So vampire power happens when
You strap them in and you make clean energy out of the flapping of their little wings.
Maybe in some circles. Vampire power happens when you have an appliance or an electronic item that's plugged into an outlet and you're not using it. It's called vampire power because it's sucking energy even when it's turned off. So beware of vampires. You want to unplug your electronics even when you're not using them. So that's tip number 1. The second way is if you're decorating and you want to get that spooky Halloween glow. Inside the house, we recommend looking for string lighting that's an LED string light rather than the old-fashioned string lights if you're going for that mood lighting. Or you can just use candles, my personal preference. Those are kind of creepy and don't use any electricity at all. So outside on your lawn, we recommend that you can have solar walkway lamps. Those don't use any electricity either. They are charged by the sun. And those are good if you have like trick-or-treaters coming to your house. You can light up the pathway for them. Adds an element of safety to that. So always look for LED lights, use candles, or use solar walkway lamps. And third, you want to watch out for the monsters. Those are the big appliances in your home that use a lot of electricity. Talking about like your AC, your old refrigerator that you might have, your washing machine. You want to try and upgrade those or consider upgrading those to an Energy Star appliance. Hawaii Energy does offer rebates for switching out your fridge and your washing machine, and also if you want to install a ceiling fan, we do have a rebate for that. So I'm full of tips, and so is our website. So if you want to learn more about Hawaii Energy, our rebates or our tips, visit us at hawaiienergy.com.
Cross-examination. Robin, what do you got?
Oh, I like that. I like all of those efforts, and you know, every little bit counts. That vampire can really suck a lot of energy, can't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's an easy way to do that, to cut your electricity bill down.
Okay, Francois, your turn.
Well,
Make it a nice question.
a question. Okay. Well, I live in Kaneohe and we have a lot of, kids coming by and stuff. So I think LED really helps because our pathway is kind of dark. I think that was a great tip. Yeah, I think overall it's a great tip. We use lots and lots of lights in Kaneohe area, as you know. So I'll make sure to let my neighbor know because his whole house is lit with lights, LEDs.
You're going to come back for Christmas with, other such tips? I mean, it wouldn't be so vampire-y, but, because, Shayna, when you come back for Christmas with the other tips, they got to be different tips.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll work on it.
And we know, by the way, it's out, your secret is out. You guys, and I have long suspected this, you come up with this stuff in the middle of the night, I know you do. Thank you, Shayna. Shayna Doi, Hawaii Energy, doing a negawatt moment. Thank you very much for coming down. It was an excellent presentation.
Thank you for
You
having
all
me.
agree, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
Good.
Thank you.
Unanimous down here. Okay. And now we're going to have Sharon get behind the microphone. That's Sharon Moriwaki. She's my co-host, but since there's no room at the table, room at the inn, she's going to heckle us from the microphone right there. Okay? Okay, on to the main topic of the show. And Robin, I'd like to start with this question. What is the main topic of the show?
clean energy. Where have we gone? What have we done about it? We always talk about it. We talk about being green. We talk about conserving our resources. But actually, how far have we come, if at all? And what are we going to do in the future?
Okay, you're getting
How's
into
that?
high policy now. I want to do that because high
Okay.
policy is what we need to do. But I think first, I think it's fair that we talk to Francois about what Blue Planet Foundation is doing, what its projects are these days, because it is totally committed to clean energy, as we know. Everybody knows that. So the first thing is the energy report card. We had a report on the report card about a month ago from Jeff Michelina, but let's talk about how it is unfolding, what kind of response you are getting, and what kind of interpretation you're putting on that.
Sure, Jay, thank you. Yeah, so we did issue the report card for the first time. Our goal, of course, is to make this an annual report card and sort of institutionalize it and try to track our progress every single year and how are we doing and whatnot. We've divided it into renewables, energy, transportation, economy, and my glasses are not here.
Use mine.
Transportation, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, so we do have 5 categories, and we also look at the overall and where we are today. Unfortunately, as an overall, we're looking at a C- right now, but we do have some great areas. For instance, efficiency was one of the best areas. Transportation could lose a lot of work. So we're kind of looking at this on different sectors and different areas and really try to track the progress in where we are today. So I could talk a little bit more about later about some areas that I particularly work on too, but that's overall what we are today. But again, the main goal is to make sure that we are looking at this year by year and making sure that we could come back to where we and what we have done over the year and sort of project the next.
So it's an annual thing.
Yes, that's our
And
goal. Yes.
what data are you using to reach, the overall grade of this year's C-?
I think we work with many different resources. We also work with DBETA and the Energy Office as well too. So it's a collaborative effort. It's not just us. We have a bunch of people in the room and really gauging and figuring out what was the possible and what is the outcome. How do we come to the conclusion and stuff like that. Yeah.
Ah, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you come to the conclusion?
Yeah, it's a red wall, black box. No, I'm just kidding. It's closed door. No. But I think it's a
I'll
good.
tell you that, but I have to kill you.
But the response has been overwhelming. I think everybody realizes how important it is to find that there's somebody out there that's actually looking at this in this way. And again, we're not here trying to put anyone down and whatnot. We're just trying to be realistic, and we owe it to the people in Hawaii and where we should go and where we should be, and stuff like that.
So what does it mean? I mean, this is really important. I mean, C- is not the kind, where you come home from school and you tell your mom you got a C-. She's likely to smack you on the side of the head for a C-.
I'm afraid that one day my child will come home and have a C-, but we always look at this as an opportunity. That's how much more opportunity we have as a state to really accomplish and make that a better goal.
What factors made it a C-, and what can we do now, right, to ameliorate whatever those problems
You
are?
want to fill in?
I think one of the real areas, and I think we're really in agreement with Blue Planet, is that we collectively haven't spent as much time as we should looking at transportation. I think we've made great strides, as Blue Planet has pointed out, in electricity generation. We've made pretty good progress for energy efficiency, and while we've got probably one of the best rates of charge spots deployed for EVs in the nation, transportation is such a huge issue that we really haven't begun to get our arms around that. And that's an area where I think we're all going to have to focus on in the future.
Yeah.
As much as I think the public knows that, we're looking to higher CAFE standards, the miles per gallon rating for cars. As much as we know that, we've got to make less trips and make them more efficient. We've got to tune our cars and make our tires inflated to the proper spec so that we get better mileage. We need a little more than that. Face it, we probably consume close to 500 million gallons of gasoline on the roads alone. That's just for surface transportation. Not to mention aviation. We still need to bring the tourists in. So how are we going to handle that?
Aspect of the same problem.
Yeah. So that transportation issue is something we've really started to get our hands.
Well,
we've got to
is
get
it
our
fair to
hands
say
around.
then that the fact that we haven't done anything much about transportation is one of the reasons we have what amounts
Well,
to a low
I think
grade.
it's, I mean, when we look at, for instance, efficiency, and Robin mentioned a good point, efficiency, we're doing good. And the reason we're doing good in efficiency is it's sort of the lower hanging fruit.
Yes.
It's tangible. People understand there might be an overnight savings, a month-to-month savings, easy. When you look at transportation and you say a third of it is transportation, but you could expect every single household possibly driving a car up to 10 years. And so how do you really make that transition from that
Well,
to
I
that?
want to ask you guys
And
that.
with the over 1 million cars in the state alone today, and like for instance, the EV sector has been blossoming, but we're not even close to hitting 2,000 yet. So, you know, how do we really get to the tipping point and start doing? Like, I open the Sunday newspaper every time, and I'm wishing that there's a car sale for EVs one day on the ad, so everyone could jump on it. But we're not even getting there yet.
Okay,
Are we manufacturing?
We're going to talk, talk about high policy. We're going to talk about solutions to that right here at this table in 1 minute's time. Right now, we're going to take a short break. That's Francois Rogers and Robin Campaniano. This is Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy. I'm Jay Fidell. We're talking about clean energy. How about that?
Yeah,
We'll be
yes, we
right
are.
back after this break.
Hi, how are you? You feeling good? Are you feeling lucky? ThinkTech Hawaii, it puts a bubble in my blender. If you don't feel good, that's your fault. Now that's live TV, folks.
Aloha, I'm Jay Fidell, founder of ThinkTech Hawaii. We are a digital media nonprofit that covers things that matter to tech, energy, diversification, globalism, and progress for our state, the state of Hawaii. We broadcast on community television and on Oceanic Cable Channel 16. We also stream our shows and interviews live on the internet as both radio and video, and of course we post them here on YouTube. We collaborate with the Hawaii Venture Capital Association to present monthly luncheon programs on subjects of interest to the business community, and we write for the Honolulu Star Advertiser. ThinkTech works hard to raise public awareness in Hawaii. Check out our website, thinktechhawaii.com, and come to our YouTube channel, ThinkTech Hawaii. We hope you support our mission and that you like our work. I'm Jay Fidell. Mahalo.
Aloha, I'm Maria Kashem of ThinkTech Hawaii, and I want to tell you about our ThinkTech talk shows. If you didn't know it, ThinkTech streams video and audio for all of its shows live on the internet from 2 to 5 p.m. every weekday afternoon, and we replay them all night long on ustream.tv. Visit thinktechhawaii.com for our live stream and YouTube links. Raise your awareness on ThinkTech. I'm Maria Kashem, and I'll see you there.
Aloha, I'm Sharon Moriwaki with the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum. Please join Jay Fidell and me every Wednesday, 4 o'clock p.m. on Energy Wednesday. See you then.
I'm Bill Spencer, President of the Hawaii Venture Capital Association. We do monthly luncheon programs with ThinkTech about things that matter to Hawaii entrepreneurs, investors, and business service providers. So join us on the fourth Thursday of every month at the Plaza Club. For information about upcoming events or to join our mailing list, visit hvca.org. See you there.
We're back, we're live, we're ThinkTech here on Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, with Francois Rogers of Blue Planet Foundation and Robin Campaniano of HCEI, the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative, and my co-host over there. She's here. Say something so that
Aloha,
there you are.
everybody.
That's Sharon Moriwaki. She's always with us. Okay, so as we left it before the break, we were going to go to, what, transportation, and do high policy on transportation. So if transportation, was a factor in the C- that we got on this report card, what can we do about it?
There's a lot of little things, and perhaps there's some big things we should look at. The little things, let's go back to what Francois said before the break, with the average, with vehicles on the road that are on the road for 10 years or more, it would be nice to start replacing them with newer vehicles.
So forget about the refrigerators.
Okay.
Let's just buy the old cars back.
Yes.
What do you think? It's an idea.
That's
They
an
do
idea,
this in
yeah.
other places in the world.
The
Yes.
clunker bill. They had a clunker bill before.
Yes, the clunker
Yeah.
bill, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's one thing.
That's one thing.
That's not going to happen anytime soon, though.
Oh, and it'll be a gradual change. Face it, we've got 1 million plus cars on the road, and it's going to take a while before we get to a more overall efficient fleet. We can convert some of them to diesel. I know the city and county's buses, they're doing a lot in terms of finding hybrid buses or diesel-run buses. So as we look to fleets, maybe we can start converting them to hybrid or EV or perhaps even hydrogen vehicles.
What about share cars?
Share cars would be great.
What about limiting the number of cars on an island, like they do in Bermuda?
Oh,
It's a touchy subject.
touchy subject.
Why is it touchy?
Because we are one of the more car-dependent states in the country. If I recall, way back when I was in the insurance business, Hawaii had the most cars per highway mile in the country by far. We've got to wean ourselves from that. We should talk about public transportation. Can we get people into buses? Or if the rail system ever comes to Oahu, can we get them to ride the rail? And will that make an impact? It probably does. However, I've not seen any studies to show how big that impact is or whether it actually will have an impact. Let's talk about telecommute. Let's talk about work at home. Let's talk about alternative work cycles so that no one will rush downtown all at the same time. Let's talk about different work locations. I think the whole idea of Kapolei was to relieve traffic, was to not only create a second city, but a real side benefit was to create different traffic patterns. Can we look at the way we work? Can we look at the way we telecommute? Can we look at the way we live? And perhaps all of this will help contribute to a more robust transportation scenario.
For those of you who are on the radio and who can't see the video, which we are broadcasting on Ustream and ultimately will be posted on YouTube, Robin has been gesticulating throughout this conversation. He is as excited as I have ever seen him. I've seen him relatively excited before, but not like this. We must have hit a nerve. And Francois has been saying, yeah. You don't catch that on the radio, but if you look at our YouTube, you'll see that.
Well, Jay, it's sort of like we have a D in a report card, and Francois and I are trying to really explain to the parent what we're going to do to correct that.
No slap on the side of the head.
But it does touch, just reflecting on the subject, it also implies on how we go about as a society, because I lived in Japan for over 10 years, and the rule of the thumb there is, of course, public transportation. This is how you get to work, to school, and all these places. But also, they don't allow cars more than 10 years old to be on the roads. Those are sort of the regulations. When I heard about the rail coming up, and I've been hearing it for the past 20 years, living here, in order to achieve the ridership, there has to be a whole set of generation that grew up with it, and that's the type of change that needs to really happen. So, for long-term solutions, yes, but we're also looking at a route that does not involve the windward or the some area of the island. Like for instance, I live in Kaneohe, but I'm never going to get a rail system over there, so that side of the population will never take that change. So again, the automobile ridership is really high right now. We mentioned about how many miles. Our average, we always tell, is every car in the state drives 25 miles per day, an average, which is part of our quiz show with our kids. We always say how many round trips is there to the moon, and we do 57 round trips to the moon every single day because of that. So that's sort of a ridiculous number, but we also like to educate our kids in that, because our kids are sort of they become the proponent. They go home, they tell their parents, they say, why are we not doing this? Why are we not inflating our tires? Those are little steps, but it's very important on achieving some of our efficiency on our automobile side.
Well, can we talk about the VIA for a minute? I want to add a couple of possibilities. Bicycles, for example.
Yes.
And I really believe in bicycles. I think it's really a shame that the best weather in the world, we haven't done that. And then, there's also the possibility of really going to town on electric cars and going to town on hydrogen cars. And I'm not sure that you can do both at the same time. Do you do both? You fix one? How do you do it? But the ultimate question is, how? How do we make these changes? There are so many possibilities for transportation that it locks you up. Where do you start? What foot do you put out first?
I think for a lot of these, we start with all of the above. Let's try to get more bike paths. I really think that's a great idea, Jay. Let's try to look at alternative work situations.
Who's going to do this?
Well, it's a collective community effort, and Blue Planet has done wonders with it. For example, their HAWAIIAN program, which I think you want to talk about a little later. Yeah. But it starts at the very beginning. It starts at home. We started with energy efficiency by having people swap out CFL bulbs. You take that old light bulb away and you stick a CFL in. And now we're talking about whole buildings doing conversions. We're talking about the state using their lead by example program to, so that any construction of a new state building has to be LEED certified. That's how we start, and we have to keep on going. For transportation,
what would you advise
it's the same
Blue
thing.
Planet to do? I mean, let's assume that Blue Planet is actually going to take the first step. What should it do?
I think it should
on transportation.
On transportation, I would steal a page from their very successful HAWAIIAN program and look for areas where we can encourage people to take public transportation, where we can encourage people to take a really good look at how they work, how they travel, and find another way, like the old.
So it's the media.
It could be word of mouth. It could be social interaction. Hawaii is such a relationship-driven state that word of mouth, just talking to our friends and family, can incorporate the whole state just from that alone. Media would help, of course.
Your thoughts, Francois?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I mean, if anything, we have always acted as the third-party person, the neutral ground, and people relate to us because we speak their language, we talk to them, we work with them day to day, and it's not about handing out. I mean, first of all, we always come and say, we're not selling anything, we're not here to sell you anything, and we provide them solutions. It's about providing a choice, and we've dealt with sort of this behavior issue, and it ultimately boils down to the choice. And are we providing enough choices for household, a parent like myself, who has 3 children, I'm a father of a house, and I'm thinking, what is the choices out there? We do not like to be forced into changes, but if we're given the wise choice, then we will take that step. So how do we convey that message of the transportation? How do you translate it into ways of people on Molokai or people on Lanai or people here understanding that, yeah, my lifestyle is here, but I could do that. Maybe my kids are telling me to do it, maybe I should do it. Stuff like that we really could be effective in those areas.
What I get from you guys? I get this. The way, or at least one way of looking at this, to actually motivate changes in public behavior is to engage in a conversation with them. I hate to use that term, but a conversation where you are engaged in communicating these thoughts, and they change. It's not just one thought, it's many thoughts, it's advice on many levels, and it's a constant contact between whatever agency, whatever organization is doing it and the public, so that everybody knows. I mean, for example, in the case of Blue Planet, where Blue Planet is coming from, its level of credibility, its level of concern about the issues, its track record, and doing whatever it has done up to this point, and its desire to affect the conduct of the community. And you keep on making those messages, and you keep on getting feedback and talking with them. I think that really is one superlative way to change public opinion and public conduct.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's a credibility, communication, conversation kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think a government agency is as good in doing that. I think the utility is. I mean, I know that the utility has got its own self-interest, but the utility is also a place where people have existing, what do I call it, communication type relationships. Hawaii Energy is another example. But again, when I say that, there are 3 of them at least. Query, what's the coordination? How do they coordinate their efforts? How do they all get on the same message, with the same priorities, with the same list of messages they want to make? What do they do? Ideas?
Well, when you talk about energy policy, which is the gist of your issue. The question then becomes who's responsible for who coordinates energy policy, and part of the answer is that the marketplace does, the individual consumers do, and certainly government plays a role. And it's the confluence of all these divergent forces, and of course the community, that creates our energy policy. And it's that dynamic which I think we're learning how to explore right now. We've seen that play itself out. In the debates on whether or not we're going to see geothermal energy from the Big Island or windmills on Molokai or Lanai. And the confluence of the government interaction with the community, with the policymakers, with the regulators, with the utility, that's where the action is. Who governs that? It's all of the above.
Okay. Next time, after this next segment, I'd like to talk about some of the other things you're doing. Francois would talk about the smart grid. So just to let you know, everybody, that when we come back, we're going to talk with Francois Rogers of Blue Planet Foundation and Robin Campaniano of Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative about the smart grid and how it relates to everything we've been talking about so far. This is ThinkTech, Hawaii, the state of clean energy. We'll be right back. Aloha, I'm Jay Fidell. This is ThinkTech Hawaii, broadcasting live from the Pioneer Plaza in downtown Honolulu. We raise public awareness about tech, energy, and globalism in Hawaii. Technology is critical to our state. A vibrant tech sector will give us new prospects in the global marketplace and will offer great careers and make our economy more resilient. Streaming live on Ustream and Spreaker, ThinkTech allows its hosts and guests invaluable opportunities to report important events and discuss important questions, and to be heard here in Hawaii and around the world. You can find links to our live streams on thinktechhawaii.com or on our mobile website, m.thinktechhawaii.com. And you can see our archive on YouTube. It's all just a click away. We want to do whatever we can to keep Hawaii relevant, connected, and thriving in the complexity of the 21st century. We hope you will help us in those efforts. Tune in today. This is ThinkTech. I'm Jay Fidell. Mahalo.
I'm Bill Spencer, President of the Hawaii Venture Capital Association. We do monthly luncheon programs with ThinkTech about things that matter to Hawaii entrepreneurs, investors, and business service providers. So join us on the fourth Thursday of every month at the Plaza Club. For information about upcoming events or to join our mailing list, visit hvca.org. See you there.
Aloha, my name is Dan Bauer and I'm the General Manager of the Plaza Club. The Plaza Club is Honolulu's premier business club. We're located in the heart of the financial district on historic Fort Street Mall. On the 20th and 21st floors atop the Pioneer Plaza, our commanding skyline views, along with our award-winning cuisine and service, are known as the place to do business downtown. We offer professional as well as social events and programs to our members and their guests, all tailored to enrich their professional and personal lives and to give them the cutting edge that they deserve in business. Why don't you consider becoming a member of the club? Call me at 531-7788 or come see me and let's talk business and how the Plaza Club can work for you. Again, my name is Dan Bauer. I'm the General Manager of the club and I'm here for you.
Hi, thank you for tuning in. My name is Attila Saras, and I'm the host for ThinkTech Fridays. Join us online 24/7, 365 days a year at thinktechhawaii.com. We're talking about things that matter to Hawaii and around the world. My name again.
Thank you, Jack Waters. We're back. We're live. We're here, ThinkTech, on Wednesday, the Hawaii State of Clean Energy Program. And we're talking with Francois Rogers of Blue Planet Foundation and Robin Campaniano of the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. And we're talking about, I guess we're just sort of comparing notes on what's going on in clean energy. We're trying to get a handle on what's happening. And one of the things that people talk about a lot is the smart grid. So I've asked this question to other people, and I'm not going to tell you their answers right now, but I'd like to ask you guys, what is a smart grid?
Jump in? What is the smart grid?
I want to start at a reasonable place, you know.
Well, what is the smart grid? I mean, overall, this easiest way that we explain to people is that, you know, how do we integrate all this new technology, new resources, new energy sources, and by making sure that we have enough power to go out to the people. Because ultimately it comes down to how are you able to switch on and off the light without any problems. And right now we're so much reliant on powering it through imported oil, and how do we make that transition? And the biggest trick right now is that we're bringing in all the renewables on the line and everything whatnot, but the grid is not be able to handle the situation. So the smart grid will be able to handle that type of situation. So how do we get to that? And that's the biggest issue that we have.
Conceptually, I mean, what is it about a smart grid that makes it able to handle more renewables?
Well, the basic thing is the baseload power issue. You know, like we deal with solar and wind and whatnot, and everything is currently available today. But then we have to make sure that you have electricity load enough to supply the demand that we have right now. And we have over 1.2 million people living in here, not to mention the 6.7 million visitors that come here annually, and all those electricity that are used towards the evening, the sort of the peak load hour. Are we able to sustain that energy load, and is the smart grid going to be able to handle that? Currently the grid is handling it, but that is primarily by powering it through imported oil and whatnot. And we're trying to make that transition to renewables, which is of course better for us overall.
So when we talk about smart grid, we're talking about a system of high-tech electronic devices that tell us who's using what, that we know what the demand is at a given moment.
Yeah.
And B, that we balance it so that the right amount of energy is getting to the right place, and so you have minimal spillage that way.
And I think the simplest thing that you could say today is that we used to call our phones a phone, right? What do we call our phones today?
Smartphones.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we're saying the grid needs to be a smart grid.
Yeah.
So we're
We
saying.
just want it to be smart in all ways.
Yes.
I mean, there's no limit.
Well, we're
to
not
how
saying it
smart
was
can-
today. We're just saying now we have better interface, better accessibility. You know, there's more capability, more functions, and that's what we live in today. The world that we live in today requires that we need to be at the level in order for us to get to the next level. And that's
So is this as a smart grid include, at least in the concept we're discussing, storage like batteries? Or is that something that you see as a separate issue?
It could be part of the same solution. You know, what Francois has done is he's sort of, you know, put in a pretty concise fashion what the issues are with the grid. I mean, it's, you know, with all the renewables that have come online, we still have a need to develop firm power on demand instantaneously. And a good example of one of the problems we have, and perhaps one of the reasons why Blue Planet gave us a D in this area, is look at our to some extent success with solar. You know, HAI has been saying that there are many neighborhoods on Oahu that have reached the penetration level for that certain grid, and they're very reluctant to take on more PV installation. And poor homeowner that wants to put PV on their roofs either have to pay these huge amounts for the studies that have to take place. Well, this is because the grid is an old traditional type of grid. And what I think we're talking about is the need to upgrade it so that we can balance the load better, so that we can probably get more renewables online, but yet maintain the stability of power. You know, certainly for a solar system, it's easy to see that cloud cover, you get the occasional rain showers on Oahu. That means that the solar, you know, the power from PV isn't going through the system, and certainly at night the system's totally down. To regulate that power,
But you need an alternative source of power if the solar is not providing the power. And
Absolutely.
my question is that when you talk about the smart grid, are you including storage within that system? Because the storage would enable you to equalize, you know, when there is no solar power, for example, without using fossil fuel, which is, you know, that's a fantastic result. We want that. But is it in the smart grid or is it somewhere else? I can't hear you.
Yeah,
It's part of it, it's backup,
Okay.
so that you can equalize, so it is part, you have to have the storage system part of it.
Okay. Is your microphone on or?
Hello?
No,
Okay,
no,
all right.
yeah.
Well, the answer, if you didn't hear it, was from Sharon, was that she sees the storage as part of the smart grid. Because I think what you're talking about a smart grid that is able to equalize non-firm power without using fossil fuel generated electricity. This is where we got to go. This is our plan. The other thing I want to ask you is, and this is really a big question, and you may want to take a breath or so when you answer this question. When you talk about smart grid, are you talking about smart grid or smart grids? Are you talking about a statewide grid, or are you talking about island by island grids? I mean, are you guys, I mean, it may feel differently about this, but are you favoring an undersea cable and trying to link as many islands as we can? Where does that fit in your view of this?
All of the above. We can talk grids by neighborhood or by, let's say, HECO, MECO, HELCO systems, you know, or we can also talk about connecting the islands. In fact, connecting the islands through an integrated, modernized grid is one of the state's new energy objectives.
Should be. I mean, really. I mean, so I don't know. Does Blue Planet have a position on this?
Yeah, no. I mean, we've always looked at, you know, and we've always supported HTI's goal. I mean, from the very day that it was signed. I mean, we've been close by from the launch of the feed-in tariff to the net energy metering to now on the unbilled financing, and we've been working very closely. And we've always come back to the plan, and we've always tried to work closely. And this does not mean that we're on the other side of the fence. It always means that we're right there to try to help facilitate, because ultimately we're on the same page. We're on the same team. This is all about our state. So how do we achieve this together with the state and with HECO and everybody together? And there are some unpopular choices, and sometimes some cases there are choices that the utility might make that we feel like, okay, why can't it be done this way? And so we're not challenging them, we're just trying to provide a better solution. In some cases we need to bring in experts out of state, and that's what we have been successful in doing. And some pieces go into the PUC side, some pieces are on the legislative side. And so I think understanding and what has been done is one thing, but also looking at the possibility. And Robin is right. You know, this is a very unique state. Every island is a different grid system, and do we unite that? Is that the better solution, or do we do individualize that? At this point is maybe a little bit early, but what we do know is that everybody is interested in energy independence, and that's where we need to be. So if this is part of the solution, if storage is part of the solution, yeah, definitely we have to look into it. And I think we've been leaning towards that all the time.
Well, I mean, if you see the grid as something that will equalize the non-firm power, and and points where there won't be any power, so there's always power. I mean, the worst problem of all is if we turn the switch on and there's no light.
Exactly.
That is really serious. That's more serious than anything we're talking about. And I wake up every morning, and I'm sure that Scott Sue does also, and I say, oh, I'm going to turn the light on now, and it goes on. And I am so happy all over my body. I'm so happy because it turns on. And I don't think we can take that as an absolute assumption. There are some times when it doesn't turn on. But I'm just thinking it's more likely that we will have that balance if we include more than one island.
Sure.
And there are people out there, I won't name names, but there are people out there who oppose an inter-island grid. They oppose any undersea cable. What do you say to them?
It's, the good news is that for the neighbor islands, most of them can meet the very aggressive standards that I think we set for ourselves. The Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative, when it was started in 2008, set a goal that 70% of our power should come from clean energy. In seeing what the counties have done, all of them have quietly and some not quietly asserted that they want to surpass that goal. It's great. It's good for all of the people in the state. And quite frankly, most of the islands, with the exception of Oahu, can meet those standards. Oahu faces the other situation that the demand is so far in excess of the clean energy opportunities that if we're going to meet our standards, if we're going to wean ourselves from all the petroleum we bring in, we need to get somehow, by hook or by crook, that energy from our islands. The cable technology is tried and true. It's been in existence forever and ever. I understand there's over 30 cables in between our islands right now of all sorts. It would be great to get some of the neighbor island power to help out Oahu.
Well, my sense of it, I am not, like you, I'm not a technical person, maybe Francois is, but my sense of it is that if you connect more places, then you do a better job at balancing. In other words, one place will have energy when the other place doesn't. And so if you if you have the ability to shift it from one place to the other, you're going to do better at balancing it around the state.
Yes. Yes.
That's sort of like a battery, but not quite.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at other states like the tri-state area and whatnot, I mean, whatever one state goes on, the other state jumps on, and they have that system to work off of each other. And our problem has always been that we don't have that capability. But you also have to look at in instances like when there is a natural disaster, like when there was the big earthquake like 3-4 years ago, and the whole island was shut down.
Right.
There were areas that didn't have lights for like 3, 4, 5 days, and I was in HAWAIIAN and it came back in 3 days, but I heard like Pro City side, some areas were down for 6, 7 days.
3 days is a
It's
long time, 6 or 7 days.
And when you listen to why they're having a problem, it's all about the grid. The grid is too old that it cannot, it's not like you could turn on this, and this like that. It has to go from here and then like power it up and make sure the load is enough to sustain that and whatnot. So, again, yes, it's helpful to have other power sources as reserves, storage and whatnot too. But in order to be able to take all of those in, smart grid is really necessary today. And unfortunately, on our perspective, we're not quite there yet. So again, we're not downgrade. We're not saying that who's doing what wrong right now. All we're saying is it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity that we have to look at and look forward to.
I think that's a perfect place for a break. Don't you agree? We're going to take a short break. This is Hawaii, the state of clean energy. We're talking with Francois Rogers of the Blue Planet Foundation and Robin Campaniano of the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative about various issues in clean energy. We'll be right back after this break.
We want to thank our underwriters.
Hawaiian Electric Company and its affiliates Maui Electric on Maui and Hawaii Electric Light Company on Hawaii Island are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company.
The High-Tech Development Corporation, the state's leading technology agency, attached to the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism.
Castle and Cook Hawaii, with a time-honored legacy that spans more than 160 years and revolves around its mission of investing in Hawaii, creating communities, and providing for the needs of our state.
Hawaii Gas, formerly the Gas Company, a proponent of the Liquefied Natural Gas Initiative, helping Hawaii achieve its transition to clean energy and a better energy future.
Collateral Analytics, a Hawaii-based tech company empowering the real estate industry with greater and faster access to the tools and data they need to make better informed property investment decisions.
I'm Nicole Horry. Thanks so much for joining us on ThinkTech.
I'm Maria Kashem. See you next time.
Aloha, I'm Jay Fidell for ThinkTech. For nearly half a century, the Hawaiian Foreign Trade Zone, number 9, has brought the benefits of the Foreign Trade Zone program to Hawaii businesses and entrepreneurs. DBED, the Hawaii Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism, operates Hawaii's Foreign Trade Zone program. It does so to encourage international business and economic development. The Foreign Trade Zone mission is to increase the amount of international trading activity in Hawaii, thereby providing employment opportunities for the residents of our island state. For more information, see ftz9.org. I'm Jay Fidell of ThinkTech. Mahalo.
I'm David Day, the host of Asian Review. This is a ThinkTech program in which we take the issues of the Asia-Pacific region, whether they be in business, in foreign policy, in national security, or geopolitics. And we take those issues and we try to probe down in some real depth. Maybe it's not always politically correct, but we get to the truth. We do things that the regular media can't do. And the reason that we can do those things is because we here at ThinkTech have the contacts, we have the network, and we can take the time and explore the issues in depth. Tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. here at ThinkTech Hawaii.
Hi, thank you for tuning in. My name is Attila Saras, and I'm the host for ThinkTech Fridays. Join us online 24/7, 365 days a year at thinktechhawaii.com. We're talking about things that matter to Hawaii and around the world. My name again is Attila Saras, and I'm the host for ThinkTech Fridays. Mahalo.
Aloha, I'm Jay Fidell of ThinkTech. Every week we produce a movie for OC16. This week our movie is about Jeff Geer, storyteller, and how he brings storytelling to Hawaii. It plays at 10:30 p.m. on Sunday and 8 times during the week. Check it out on OC16 and later on ThinkTechHawaii.com. We'll see you there. I'm Jay Fidell. We're here on 760 AM. We're also on Ustream, and check us out on ThinkTechHawaii.com. So we're with Francois Rogers and Robin Campaniano. We're talking about energy, clean energy. We've covered many subjects. The last subject we talked about was, I guess it was the inter-island grid. I'd like to ask one other question about that is, we're talking about collectively billions. I just wonder who's going to pay that. Any guys have a checkbook that you could help us out with?
Absolutely not. But it's got to make financial sense. No matter what proposal we have, what type of clean energy, be it more EVs, be it windmills, be it geothermal, it's a dollars and cents issue. If we cannot make it cost effective and economical, we're not going to get the investors to come in, pony up the bucks to finance the system, and we're not going to get, I don't think it's fair for the consumers to pay for a shot in the dark either.
So how are you going to pay for it?
It's a delicate dance. We find out how and when a project will be financially viable. Quite frankly, some of the early modelings that I saw for bringing in wind power, let's say from Molokai Ulanai, it made economic sense. It could be done, of course. There are a lot of other concerns, cultural, environmental, political, and certainly these are extremely important concerns, but just on a dollars and cents basis, it seemed to be, over the long run, an economically viable decision. I think whatever we decide to do, whatever major project with which we will engage, it's got to make dollars and cents sense. Otherwise, we will not attract the investors, and we will not get anybody to finance an unworkable project.
Okay, but ultimately, people are going to have to pay this. I mean, the investors are going to put the money in. They're going to want it back.
Absolutely.
And so, do people really understand that if you make clean energy projects, it costs money to put them in the ground? It's new infrastructure, and there isn't a fairy godmother that comes down and pays for it. You got to pay for it. Do they understand that?
I think people will eventually understand that. Face it, I don't want my personal electric bills to go up unless I'm, myself. So I would hate to finance a project that's going to result in more cost. But on the other hand, there's another part, Jay, that we're talking about energy security. Right now, we import billions of dollars worth of energy into our state. Wouldn't it be nice to spend some of that money locally and have that circulate through the local economy?
That's a great source of funds. I mean, if I don't have to spend $6 billion on foreign oil, and I could make it locally, then theoretically I should have some cash left over. The idea is to convince people that works that way.
And
what about your three kids? Are your three
Jay.
kids ready to write a check?
Well, this is exactly the conversation we have with elementary kids today and whatnot. It says we are doing our very best, and we don't want to wake up 20 years from now and finger point to us and say, "Well, why didn't you do anything about it?" So that's exactly where we're at today. We have to make sure we leave something behind that's good for them.
Yeah, that's in a larger sense, that's something that really. That's bothersome, that if we don't do it now, if we resist now, we say, we're not going to pay any more. The rates are high enough, I'm going to pay any more. The kids will pay it later on.
But that's always been the common dialogue with us when reaching out to people, is that we're ultimately doing this for the next generations to come. We're not doing this out of self-greed or anything like that. And particularly in our case, we are a nonprofit. We're just basically becoming the resource, the information, the facility to make sure things are being done in the right way. And who is going to benefit from this? The generations to come.
Absolutely.
That's where we're at.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's really valuable community work that you guys both are doing for the benefit of the community in general, the common good, I like to say, and the next generation. So let's talk about some more of the projects you're doing, Francois. You have the Molokai project. Can we talk about that?
Sure. So we just talked about a little bit about how important it is to create a dialogue with people, because people ultimately understand if you really talk to them. So in the past few years, we worked with them very closely, and again, in the past 4 years, we started off by swapping out all the CFLs working with Hawaii Energy.
You made a movie about that.
Yeah, we actually actually had a TV show. We did all sorts of things to really reach out there, and you know, the end result from that project was we swapped out close to 40,000 light bulbs in a matter of 45 days. Everybody got behind, merchants, students, teachers, you name everybody, and it was a whole campaign. And when everything was done, the biggest message from the take home was that $6.5 million. $6.5 million avoided going out of state, out of their pocket, remain in your pocket. And that message really was strong into the mind. And that was sort of the beginning of our conversation. So we went into year two.
Dialogue.
Yes, dialogue.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Okay. So the dialogue again is like, okay, how do we come back with a bigger message and whatnot? So we came up with the creative idea of sort of the Groupon, you know, bulk purchase concept. But we said, what if we could fill up a whole container full of refrigerators and swap out all those old, inefficient 30-year-old refrigerators? And so we worked with a couple of partners, including Hawaiian Energy and whatnot, and we came up with this plan called HAWAIIAN, which is this little program over here. So we launched this off a year after that, and we worked with homes, and we successfully swapped out close to 150 homes onto that. Again, the message was how much energy saving there is, and the people were able to get it on a cheaper price. If you ought to buy a refrigerator to their Sears, they're gonna have to ship it twice and whatnot, and they'll pay close to $1,000 for a refrigerator. With all the collaborative partnership, we're able to provide it to them for only $250.
Oh.
Now, this is going from a free light bulb now to actually putting out your money. Our conversion rate, interesting, was 400 applications to the door and 150 materialized. So we're looking at about maybe 3 to 1. So we thought that now that we're very successful in Molokai, do we want to replicate this? Is this something that we could take and use in another area? So we actually went to Lanai the following year, and we did the same thing.
The net effect of these projects, does
Yes.
it cost you money to do it, or does it happen sort of by itself?
It has lots of, it's all in the dialogue. It's people are in front of friendly markets, kids talking to the parents, and we spent $60 on advertising. The rest was word of mouth. And that's how it is. And maybe because it was an island in Molokai that really worked well. It is the friendly isle after all. But when we went to Lanai, when we did this project, it actually worked down there too. So this year we're back again in Molokai, and now we're pushing the message strong. But now it's a little bit more different. It's not that we're new. It's not that the program is new. It's not about this whole thing. It's about all these people in the past has taken part of it. Their life has changed. All the lives of these people have changed. And why are you not changing? So it sort of creates the peer pressure, and other people are wanting to take in charge, and two, people who missed out. And so now we're doing.
So you think their conduct will change? I mean, it's not just that they had a good time, but when this issue comes up again, you know, what kind of bulb to buy, whatever it is,
yes,
they're gonna remember and do it again.
And
do
some
it,
of
do
the
CFL again.
And some of the post surveys or interviews that we've done with the families, they clearly mentioned not only the refrigerators, it was an eye-opening experience that now they're changing and doing other stuff. They went into solar water heating and they're doing stuff, so it's changing their way of life. But it all boils down to the dialogue and how do we really effectively tell the story to the people that people will grasp it and say, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why am I not doing it? Why is my family not doing it? Or your son will come up to you and says, Dad, why did you not do that? So sort of going in from different angles of the community and sharing the story and telling the story and then going into the next set of people. And now we actually swapped out 60 refrigerators already with this new project, and we're trying to hit 300 homes by the end of next fiscal year, which is May for Hawaii Energy. And so we're hoping
This the kids, you know. You guys, Blue Planet did a play at the Honolulu Theater for Youth 2 years ago, and
That's
these
fun.
kids were like 6 years old, and they were going home and telling their parents, you know, they better change their ways because their parents didn't understand anything.
Yeah, that was fun.
So it was really an educational process, and I think that's what you got to do, right up the food chain. Everybody in the community has to get the message. So, Robin, take a minute and close. What are your thoughts?
We've made a lot of progress since the creation of the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative 5 years ago. I think the awareness level in the community amongst policymakers has increased. We're starting to wean ourselves from clean energy, from petroleum, and we're making great strides. As Blue Planet points out, we've got a long way to go. We've got a lot of great ideas at the ground level and at the policy level, and we've just got to keep our nose to the grindstone so that we can make a better Hawaii with this.
Nicely done. You guys really great together. Yeah, when you come back, you have to come back together, okay?
Oh, of course.
Sharon, your final thoughts. Take 10 seconds. Go ahead.
I really think that this was great, hearing about what both Blue Planet is doing and HCEI. And as Jay says, I mean, I think we have a lot of go, but I think the kind of collaboration and dialogue is really, really critical. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
That's Francois Rogers and Robin Campaniano. Francois is from Blue Planet Foundation. Robin is from the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. And here we are, Hawaii, the state of clean energy, once again on a Wednesday afternoon, going off into the sunset after a great discussion. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Thank you.